My name is Wonhee Bae. I teach violin and chamber music at San Francisco Conservatory of Music. I would describe my teaching style as hopefully caring and very passionate. Since very young age, I moved out of my country in South Korea and came to the United States to study violin. And so I know what it means to study music at a very young age, particularly what it means to really sacrifice your entire life just being very focused on music study. And so I really sympathize with those who would like to learn, and I try to help them the best way I can. I believe that everybody has different needs and goals in their musical journey, and everybody needs different assistance in their own way, and so I try to sort of customize depending on their needs. If I were to tell 14-year-old Wonhee, I would tell her, don't be afraid of any failure. I would say, without trying, nothing will ever happen to you. So just go for it. And my favorite thing to say to my student is that when you go on stage, play fearlessly, but when at home, be humble when you're practicing. Hi, Jeeihn.
Hello.
What are you playing for me today?
I'm going to play Brahms Concerto, D minor.
How long have you been working on this piece?
We just had one rehearsal, and I started this piece a week before. Yeah.
A week ago. Wow, so it's a new piece for you. Okay, great. So whenever you're ready. Great. I'll stop you here. It's a great start of having learned this piece just a week ago. So what do you like about Brahms Concerto?
The huge amount of love of Brahms's like style and gesture and colors.
Yeah. So when I'm playing this piece, I think of it as a piece that's not just a violin concerto, but it's some kind of a symphony where you are part of you're part of a symphony that he wrote. Because from the very beginning, there's a huge QT section that kind of starts off like very symphonic kind of way, and then as you enter, you're making a statement together with which instrument, do you know?
Timpani?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So basically, when you're entering, and then the full orchestra was behind you, and then yam dum 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 da ya as you enter, timpani is giving you this kind of atmosphere, right? And then as you play, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 bars of ya da 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 dum, and then ba dum dum. That's from the strings that are yiram dum, the 5th bar that they're adding, and then you going again as a soloist, yam dum dum da ya da 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 ya da 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 dum. So that's kind of so from the beginning of the piece, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 bars for the violin, but then the second time it's shortened. Yam bam bam da 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 ya da 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 da. It's only 3 bars, right? So then yaga taka taka tam, taka 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 tam, yaga taka taka tam, taka 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 pam. Then it goes for about 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 4 bars again, and so the way that you kind of show this part in the beginning should be that this is the first statement, and then they're adding something for 1 bar, but then I'm going again for 3 bars, and then I'm building up again for the 4 bars to the yam tam tam. So in bar, I don't know if you have the 102, that being on the second beat should be bum bum dum, that with that dum dum, the second beat having that very strong beat should say something very significant in terms of a structure of it in the very beginning. Now, how do we approach that in terms of technical perspective of things? If I were to tell you very honestly about your own playing, of course I love your playing and you're very expressive, but at times I've noticed when you're performing, especially when you're trying to project in a big concert hall, you have a tendency of overplaying it to the point that it sometimes sounds you're pressing a bit too much. But this part where there is nothing else except horn and just timpani, you will be heard. That's the volume is not a problem. And I know you have so much passion inside, but try to present it in a way that it's not just, okay, I feel it, but okay, here is this structure, and here's the piece. I'm part of the symphony that I want to present to you, kind of in a third person's perspective of things. Okay, now having that in mind, let's try from the beginning and see what happens. get the very first chord, because this D is pretty significant in a sense that in the very beginning of this piece it starts with a right. So I mean, obviously, undoubtedly, this is a D major, but then how you start here, it's in fact not a D major, but it's like right? And so when you're coming in, you kind of have to feel the not only yaga, but da 3 1 2 3 bam tam tam ta 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 ta, right? So you kind of start thinking subdivision of eighth notes in before that, tam 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 ta 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 pam, right? So the very first note of your solo part should come in ideally not like a little bit late, but like it came from the and then right away make sure that you are being kind of a conductor as well. And then of course with the third beat having that accent, you could take more time, and then tan 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 tan, and I love this like rhythm, how like it's like quarter notes, eighth notes, ya ta ta ya ta 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 yum ta da yum bam tam tam, and then the second phrase having the syncopation, you could. You could kind of really show that with your gesture. Okay, let's start from the beginning one more time. Like I said, the second beat, arrival point, make sure that you show it with enough gestures so that you really like show the orchestra, in your case, your pianist, where your second beat wants to fall. Just for technical stuff, I would practice it so that you practice not spiccato, but the right, and then also just to feel how it develops, just the last three notes. Something like that. So just alone, could you try just this? And then, yeah. Yeah, it's really important that you you play it as a group at once. Again. And make sure that you're not necessarily pressing, but at first you're just like, stating it very calmly. But the more you do, you use more. You have a room to use more bow. You're hesitating before the last chord. Yeah. Then. Yeah. Okay. So now, I mean, this is a personal taste, but I tend to play this little more spiccato, so it starts with a... The more you go towards the end, I make more jumps in the spiccato. And yeah, exactly. And when you really got there, make sure that you really open your chest. Yeah, exactly. And make sure you really and let everybody know this is the the highest note. And okay, good. So, this part where it's like, obviously you're making the music together with the orchestra. What are you thinking about when you're playing this part?
To make sure all the intonations in
Yeah, I know.
no rush.
Well, there are many notes to play for your part, and because there are so many notes, when I play this, I always think of a big pulse, of course, da ra ra ya ra ra. But at the same time, it's like in 6 and then in 5 and then later in 4, right? So I try to feel in that pulse with that rhythm, and I try to enjoy that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somehow it doesn't work in English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? And kind of try to imagine yourself as being part of the symphony and part of this, the sound that is being created, and people are listening to that, and you kind of feel the something like that, but rather just let it just flow naturally. You know what I mean? Let's go from ya la la. And then it goes up. Different chord. Beautiful, beautiful, very nice. Jeeihn, so one thing that you have, it's very easy for us to make a mistake when playing beautiful music, is that it's easy to make it sound cute or too fragile. But Brahms's music, particularly in this context where it is part of the symphony, you should never show your cute character. Because I heard, which is very beautiful, but I think the line is still very long and there is a lot going on, that when you finally got there, there is still something kind of, we're not so sure where it's really going. So, and when you got to that point where it's more, it starts with the slur, because it was more, yo, ta, 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 and then with slurs to this is like the first real D major chord that comes out, that's like a sunshine. And that's where you can really show, there's a beautiful sunshine. So until there, don't show your cute personality. Let's go from yo koto 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 koto. Yeah, good. And then when there is just one chord and then that's held, it doesn't just suddenly go up, but you know that this is D major, so you're going for the D major chord next line as well. So with orchestra, where you have the chord that's being held, it's not going to just drop ya ra ra ra, but rather la ya ra 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 ra, right? So if you could kind of plan that, having a very slow bow in the beginning, I needed to breathe. Okay. Let's go directly, or maybe the bar with diminuendo. La go do go do go do go.
Okay.
Yeah. Good, beautiful. Yeah, so this is the part where you can show, it started from very high E string. D string, G string, right? So it goes in a big range and showing off all the violins what we've got. And so if you can kind of follow that line while you're thinking about having different strings and its character, until here, that you're really enjoying what your violin has to offer and kind of show what violin has to offer. Directly la ga da ga da ga. Good. Yes, good. So for this part, these chromatics, what does chromatic scale indicate in this context?
Something that is hard to reach.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like something very expressive, and you want to like try to get somewhere, but it's kind of hard for you to get there. And you know, orchestra is holding the same chord for a long time, which is just this chord. So. I wanna guess there, but no. and then this coming down, but instead of this is the part where you thought that you were gonna settle in, but no. We wanna go to D major, right? And so this is like a long anticipated A7. But meanwhile, you want to show you, right? Good. Let's go from show off your G string in a very warm way. Beautiful. Yes, beautiful, very nice. Okay, and then another thing to add is when you finally got to that very top of the note, sometimes it's really nice to not tell the sweetest thing very directly, but kind of, here is something very special for you. So if you could kind of la da da da, now right away la ba da da da, and then present it with your vibrato, kind of having a later sugar, like yeah, add it to it. Let's go from. Beautiful. For me, my favorite chord of this theme is this seventh at the very end. So obviously with viola, playing you know, it's like you feel like you're flying, and so when you're even though this is right before that, I want to add some little personal touch to that. And when you play the this is like you're kind of running in the green meadows in Switzerland, where it's like this is so beautiful weather, but perhaps there's something that I question about, something like that. Okay, go from the trill. Save them over there. So this is a part where it's very easy for a lot of students. I mean, when I hear this piece being played in an audition, make mistakes when they play very vigorously and kind of determined, and also it's kind of exposed in a way because soon this comes. But for me, this is the part where it's very intimate, where Brahms's music is very complex in a sense that his theme is always frei aber einsam, free but lonely. So this is a part where you could be free, but it's not like openly free. It's like longing free. So, and also if you look at the scores, there are no winds and it's just strings that are behind you. So if you could play kind of intimately, particularly this is just very, something that somebody just tells you, you're the very beautiful Jeeihn. And then it's just going 5-1, And then, yes, of course, there is development of the rhythm. But still, it's just a very simple chord that just comes back 1-5-1-5. It's not very complicated in its harmony. And it's in a very intimate setting. So you want to play as if you're just playing in front of your loved ones, your family. And when you're going up, you're flying, and so have as light touch as possible. Let's go from do, do, bo. Let's hear your intimate story. Beautiful. Yeah, good. And so, da, 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 very beautiful. Da, la, do, mi, da. This is A major, la, da. Immediately, second violin changing to the C natural. It changes things. It just in very, in just one bar. And then it goes to C major, which is the first time I actually would kind of smile with the hope that there is some kind of hope for you in this very bar. So yeah, let's feel that together. Let's go from the la da. Yes, this is the part where it's very easy for violinists to screw up because it's very high. And when you are pressing down here, particularly in the E string where the E string is very thin, it's already pressed down by your left hand pressing down. And particularly if you go up, higher, it's already very much pressed. So if you press even more with your bow, it makes that. And so it's very important when you're playing in a high up register that you really focus on your bow, not to press at all, but really feel the contact between the strings and the bow hair. So, that it's just feel how many bow hair you're using while you're playing this part. Who's playing together with you? Which instrument?
Who's it?
Mi, pa, pa.
Bass?
Yeah, double bass and cello. So they're the only ones that are playing, right? So can you have well, I don't want to say a tension or any kind of fight, but you're kind of challenging with the lower strings, right? So try to have in your color a little bit like darker. That you're really kind of grabbing the strings, not in a forceful way, but really kind of trying to play as if you're playing the viola. Yes, good. And then this is a power where you can be like, violin wins, and then you can be more. This is the power you're being very, very violinistic. Good. One more time. Beautiful. So I would say when you're playing, this part is also very symphonic with, with the strings playing mi, pa, pa, right? So try to fill in the hall with your sounds, and then. This is the part where you can kind of also, this is the slur I want to show off, and this rhythm, it ends in kind of happy E major. That E major doesn't last for very long, and very typical of Brahms that he doesn't stay quite happy for a long time. Okay, let's go from the Yes, good. I want to show you one thing. When you're playing together with piano or with orchestra, it's really important to show where what kind of beats are in a kind of like sending an aura way. So you could be playing very well, but people can't really tell which beats you're playing. And so if it can be kind of like your presence. You're doing all the things that you're inspired to do, but at the same time you kind of show exactly, like have a very strong inner pulse inside you that kind of generates that aura. Okay, this is where I'm going for. Try. Beautiful. So before we go on, I wanted to ask, so when you're playing this part, what are you thinking about?
Flowing, just hanging around with no purpose, with no direction.
Yeah. But like, you know, in a places like this where it's like constantly playing yagada 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 yagada, and you want to kind of, yeah, I mean, like you want to play like seamlessly, like using the bow that people don't notice where you're changing the bow ideally, and have this long line of things just presented. While you're playing, are you thinking about what it sounds like to the audience? No, I mean, I'm just asking you. Like, are you listening to what you sound directly to your ear, or are you kind of trying to listen to something else? So my advice to you would be to try to hear the overall sound that will be heard there while you're playing this kind of line, where you're like how it will sound over there, because the way you're playing, it's very comfortable, and I know you're caring a lot about each note, but while you're thinking too much about every note, how it sounds to you right away, you are missing kind of a long line of things. So if you, like from try to imagine how it sounds to others in the back of the hall, and try to create that line and see what happens.
Right at piano.
Save the bow and there. Send it there, over there, longer. Beautiful. So this part, double bass and cello goes da 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 ya da yum pa 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 pa, da 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 da, da 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 da. So it's not exactly ya da 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 da, right? As piano can only play, but in an orchestra it's much more. There's more texture in the yum, yum, right? So while you're playing, so. Because of that texture, when you're playing, you kind of have to have a feel that you're playing off of yum pum 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 yum pum pum pum, right? And also this is only coming down in fifth, but then this is coming down in seventh, so it takes more time to come down there, and then and then 10th having the swell is very intimate, and then having joining the first violin. Of course, they're all like two divided bows, but because of that line coming along, you can't really slow down that part, which you were slightly slowing down. And another thing that's very important for you to think about is that when you're playing something like this, try to have an image in your head or in your ears, what you want to sound like before you play, particularly in this kind of very personal, beautiful melody. Like, kind of try singing inside you. Particularly when coming down, it can't just and then it goes again up. Right? So have the moment to think about it, and off you go. Give her maybe 2 bars before. Alright, well, let's do it again. You can try one more time. Yes, and in this part, it's actually kind of a waltz in a sense that it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So da ya da ya da ya da da ya da da. So you can kind of da 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 ya da da ya. But while you're doing that, don't be afraid of taking time in certain intervals when you feel like it. Go directly da ya da. One, two. a swell, but here none. But there's a crescendo there. Yeah, oftentimes people kind of ignore that. But yes, well, nothing but again deeper. Go directly, die. But this is the second beat that has the accent. Yum da da, da yum da dum. Don't be afraid of that like off rhythm. That yum da da, yeah, yum da dum. And this part, technically, I would really lift off. Make sure that you really have it ready. Finger ready. Try. Yeah, again. Yeah, exactly. Practice a couple times that way and then it will be easy for you. Good. Okay. When I play this piece with the orchestra, I always felt like I had to give so much, and already by this time I was so like breathless. But it's there's a long way to go. So it's very important to effectively project your sound instead of like physically like really pressing down. So I would go for a more like clicking sound. Make sure that your bow, that the bow hair is not just straight, but there's some kind of like that you're kind of grinding the bow and you're kind of feeling it, but not really necessarily pressing it, but just like feeling that conflict.
Okay.
Try yeah. Yeah. And again, this is also very important for you to have very free bow. Yum, da dum, not like ga ga ga. Good. So this is the parts like so while you're feeling that tension, that the music is that's constantly going on. So there, until there, you kind of have a dragging kind of feeling, but not necessarily with like being delayed, but you're kind of like pushing it, going forward. But then where you want to be very rhythmical, it's a yam ta yam there. Could you give her 2 bars before? Very good. After yaga da 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 da, make sure you look at the conductor. Yam tam. Very precisely giving the breath. Beautiful. So one thing very important for you to think about is that considering its length of the and its power of this piece, make sure that you don't overplay, but it's important for us to work on the sound that projects without having to press and use so much physical strength, but making it project in a very effective way, which you did beautifully in the last part. But make sure that you remember that feeling.
How can I practice that in the small practice room?
Oh, yeah.
It's always challenging.
I know. It helps to, I think you do it already, record yourself. But also, obviously it's very important for you to always have that in your ear, what it sounds like, what it might sound like in the hall while you're practicing. And before you play any note, you think of a sound that sounds beautifully in the hall and what kind of the sound that you want yourself to sound, and have that strongly in your ear, and then try to create that. And of course it helps to sometimes play in a lesson or in a studio class, kind of try out things. But of course when you're practicing, that's the most important thing, I would say, is not to just listen for the sound that you are making at the moment, but always try to imagine, what will it sound like in the back of the hall. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.